to know you as I am fully known. I will call on you till the day you bring me home. Hello and welcome to Worship Arts Clinics TV. My name is John Parrott and I am the Worship Arts Director of Discovery Church here in Orlando, Florida. And as I said last week, kind of an audible, this is part 2 of the electric guitar. There was so much that we talked about last week and felt like we needed another episode to get into kind of the guitar player's playground, and that is guitar effects. Electric guitar players love guitar effects.
Yes, we do.
And it plays a lot in the role of worship music, especially today's music. I think a lot of that is in part to the edge, really bringing a lot of tonality and different delays into our world, and which we're excited about that being part of our world now.
Yep.
But I'm here with Doug Classy. He was with me last week. If you didn't get a chance to see that episode, go back and watch it. We talked on tonality and two electric guitar players playing together and the best way to blend that and all that type of stuff. It was a great episode. So he's back. And Doug, as we look at this pedal board here, many people who look at this pedal board would say, I don't know what a lot of those pedals are. And the reason being is you have built a lot of these pedals. And one of the bennies to having Doug part of our team is that he has built a lot of us our own pedal boards. And he's got his own painting designs and different things like that. Yep. And actually in the description of this, this video, we have Doug's website, DC Pedals, where Doug builds custom pedals. And if you'd like more information about that, you can go to that website, send him some information, he'll be in touch with you. But he builds a great, great product. But Doug, tell us a little bit about what you have here on your pedal board.
Well, it usually starts with drives. Up here in the beginning I have a wah-wah, and it goes into a ring modulator and a vibe pedal. And then after those two, it goes through, here's my drive section. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 overdrives in this little space. From here it rolls into some modulation. I have a chorus pedal, I have a compressor, and I have a clean boost. This is a prototype here, by the way. And a tremolo. And from the tremolo it goes to my timeline delay and my wet reverb, and then last is I have a small looper that I use. And my tuner, I just put my tuner anywhere that it actually fits on the board.
Okay. You know, I know a lot of discussion comes around, and a lot of times we've talked about things. What's the proper order of pedals? If you've got, you know, if you've got a couple pedals, a lot of people watching may not have all these pedals, but they may have 2 or 3 they're using, an overdrive and a delay. Seems like most players have a delay pedal nowadays. Maybe a compressor, chorus. What would be, you know, how much of it is personal preference and how much of it really is just using signal flow to its best ability?
Well, it really all is personal preference.
Okay.
But there are some general guidelines that folks like to follow.
Okay.
Fuzz effects and those old school style of effects like to go early. The reason is because those effects like to see the guitar pickups right at the end of the wire.
Okay.
So the wah-wah and the vibe and the ring modulator want to see a guitar pickup.
Okay.
So that's why they go first. Drive effects usually go next because they push drive into other effects. If you put delays first and you overdrive a delay, some folks just don't like the way that sounds.
Yeah.
Some do.
Yeah.
And I put my compressor after my drives just because I like the dynamic range into my drives. Yeah. And the compressor really takes that dynamic range away. I'm different. A lot of folks put their compressors first, but I don't. Clean boost needs to go after all the drives, so it really makes a boost, makes your clean boost go up. If you put your clean boost before your drives, you won't get louder, you'll just get more overdrive.
Now, what kind of amp are you using? I know you build amps as well.
I build amps.
He builds guitars. You built this guitar, yeah?
I build guitars.
Okay, so I'm giving all these shameless plugs here. But what kind of amp do you use, and what's kind of your personal preferences in that?
I use a lot of different amps, and my preference is to use the amp that wants to be played that weekend.
Okay.
They don't talk to me, but usually the style of music that I'm playing that weekend and the guitar that I'm going to use, there's a nice match for an amp.
Okay.
I have some Fenders. I have a Marshall, and I have some that I've made.
Okay. Now, do you swap out tubes a lot? Any personal? I know it's all preference as well, but some tubes and things like that. I know that you've worked with me on changing out some tubes and getting some different sounds and stuff like that. Anything that you can recommend on that end?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've talked about it, and you know from personal experience the difference one tube can make.
Yeah.
The advice is buy a really good tube for your first preamp tube.
Yeah.
And a really good tube is usually $40 to $60. They'll last about 10 times as long as a JJ or a Chinese tube.
Yeah.
So it's really worth it.
Okay. Are there any pedal no-nos? Like you said, a lot of it's personal preference, but anything you would go, this would probably just squash your tone if you set up your rack this way or set up your pedal board this way?
Use good power supplies.
Good power supplies. There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
So is that, you're talking about what's built into here, plugging everything in? Is that what you're talking about as far as your power supplies?
Yeah, I'm talking about, you know, the DC power supplies like this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Now, why is there a space in your pedal board here?
That's my next design.
Okay.
It goes right there.
Okay, fair enough. Do you know what that is yet?
Yeah, it's going to be a phase pedal that ramps fast and slow, and it also has a regular time knob, so I can run it fixed rate or I can run it ramping rate like a Leslie speaker.
Okay. Now, with tone, like anything else, everything in moderation, you know, or the worship pastor would like for everything to be in moderation. It can get really washy quick, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can get a lot of pedals, get something new, and it's just, you know, you're cranking everything, you know, opening the gate up, everything like that, and before you know it, you've got a tone that's kind of just washy. It's not very distinguishable, and it drives your sound men nuts.
Yeah.
So there's some discipline in playing with your tones as well. And do you find it important to be communicating with the sound guys out there, making sure that, hey, what I'm giving you, what you're having to put in the house out there is distinguishable, and I'm not giving you something, because a lot of times the sound guys always say, I can only work with what you give me.
Right.
So if a guitar player is giving a really rough tone, it's coming out really rough out there, and a lot of times they just turn you down in the mix.
They'll turn you down.
They'll turn you down in the mix. So any counsel you would give on that as far as being careful in the moderation in which you use your effects and things like that?
Yeah, you have to just use good judgment. If I play with a second guitar player and we both have delays going on at the same time, I'll usually turn mine off.
Yeah.
We don't need two guitar players. We're having two delays. Some may have a dotted eighth, one may have a quarter. And if you think about what the sound man is trying to do, he's trying to mix those two instruments in a big room or in your church room. And if he's got all of these delays swirling around the room, he can't bring you into the mix.
Yeah.
You'll be under the mix and folks won't hear what you're playing. So just turn your delay off for that little section of the song.
Yeah.
Soundman can push you up into the mix and you'll be heard.
Yeah. And what do you find is more important, the effect or good tone? If you had to choose one or the other.
Good tone.
Good tone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Good guitar, good pickups,
Yeah.
decent cable, good amp,
Yeah.
and right there's all you need.
Yeah. So let that be hopefully less burdensome for some who go, I don't have the money to buy a lot of pedals. I don't really know how to use all these pedals. Understanding that a good tone will carry the day. And as a worship leader who is depending on Doug to do his part and to really hold down the fort in the area of electric guitar, I would rather him have really good tone that sounds really nice and full in the house than a bunch of effects that's going to get washed and in a way it's going to probably trample on a lot of the other instrumentation that's going on. So, really important there. Well, Doug, thanks so much for being here with us again this week, and hopefully this was helpful. Again, you can check out his website. He owns a company called DC Pedals. He builds pedals. They can reach out to you and ask any questions. This is the man. He's the man. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this was informational for you. Hopefully you learned something. Look forward to seeing you next Monday as we release another video. Bye-bye.
Yeah.